Hey everyone, I'm Allana Pinkerton with Selling St. Petersburg. This is our first podcast episode.
Exciting.
With my great friend Josh Naylor from the Naylor Group. We are at the Moxie Hotel. We'll probably do some podcasts from different places. Try them out.
What a setup though.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool setup. Very chic hotel.
Yeah.
Downtown Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, Florida.
It doesn't get much better than that.
I mean, it just seems like every year, or every month rather.
I'd say every month.
Every month something's coming to St. Pete.
New attraction, new building, new restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So Josh and I wanted to start talking about what's going on in St. Pete, bringing you valuable information, fun information, mainly about obviously real estate, mortgages, which is what Josh focuses in on.
I'm the money man.
He's the money man. You need the money man.
That's right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Josh has been doing mortgage lending for how long now?
Unofficially since I was like 23. But I've had my license and I've been a lender and actively probably 12 years, 13 years.
And my husband and I used to own a mortgage company back in the day.
Which I think is awesome. Yeah.
Back in the day from 2000 to 2008, where it was like Christmas all the time.
Oh man, I know.
Yeah, it was.
Those are easy then.
Those were easy.
Yeah.
So
now there's so much regulation and red tape and verification. Yeah,
that's why I didn't want to go back into it. He's like, whoa.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is knowing how we ran our mortgage business and then having the experience like Josh has and what he brings to the table is honesty, integrity, valuable information. He's going to get the job done one way or the other.
One way or the other.
And then has so many different products that he could present to buyers.
Yep.
And so it makes it a great partnership. So I am a licensed Florida realtor with Realty One Group Sunshine here in downtown St. Pete. We have offices in Tampa. Realty One Group is an international brokerage. So I get a lot of great resources. Josh is our in-house lender for our local brokerage. So it's pretty cool. So that's who we are. So let's dive into, we are here. It's May the 14th.
Is it the 14th?
It is the 14th.
I feel like this month is flown by. I feel like the year is flown by. It's been the longest, shortest year ever.
Yeah, because of interest rates.
Let's
talk about it.
Yeah, interest rates. Oh, let's. Man, I talk about fluctuation. 2-3 weeks ago, we were really just trending down on the 10-year, and rates were coming down and settling in mid upper sixes. It's really taken a turn here recently because of the tariffs and the Fed's really absorbing a lot of information. They don't know if things are going to be more or less inflationary. They're really curving, trying to go after inflation, and doing so, they're trying to keep rates up to make things less affordable, and then also bringing it down and trying to stabilize the market. I blame them on this 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. And we won't get into that.
Well, I mean, we can't control politics.
No.
And it is what it is. So since we have no control over it, what are the pros and cons? Like, I mean, I'm sure people are going, oh, I'm going to wait to buy until the rates go down. But is it the right time? Do you wait or do you go ahead and just buy? And what are your options?
I get this question often, and I'm an investor as much as I am a lender.
And we're going to talk about that.
Yep. There's really no bad time to buy. It's just how you buy, I always say. Depends on the situation. If you're getting good seller paid concessions, you're getting some money off. Truth of the matter too is if rates start coming down and people see that and people feel that in the market, you're going to see a bigger pool of people coming to the market. And what's that going to do? That's going to drive more people to properties. Right. Properties are going to get more offers. Offers are going to go higher than what you can get today. So if you're seriously trying to time the market, just like you can't time the market in real estate, you can't time the market in stocks. It's the same premise.
Right. So just if you're ready to buy, I mean, if that's what your options are, that's what you choose to do. And of course, another topic, we can talk about buying versus renting, but we're in the selling game. So
it's always good to buy. If you're in a position to buy or purchase, depending on the situation, if you need money, you might look at a little cheaper house, a house that's been on the market for longer. You can get some seller paid concessions. We could put that money to work on the back end. so we just make the home buying process a little more affordable. So I mean, it's
Yeah, don't be in a hurry to buy like that big
no,
expensive home
you
unless
have to
you're
crawl before you walk. You have to
exactly.
walk before you run. You have to run before you sprint.
Unless you're looking at downtown condos. That's my specialty. I focus on downtown. Buy that big, beautiful condo.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be big. I mean, but
yeah.
they're not cheap
No, no.
for a good reason. Location, location, location.
Location. And when you talk about location, St. Pete is the prime location, I think.
And
It's one of the
oh
places
my
that I think
gosh.
has so much. I moved here from Tulsa, Oklahoma 8 years ago. I moved here because I saw so much potential and growth.
Right.
We're just scratching the surface
We
on
did the
that.
same thing. I came to St. Pete back in 2014 when the old pier was here, and I thought it was like a quaint town. I
Yeah,
remember going home going, oh, to my husband, we should go vacation there sometime. We
yeah.
never did. Then we came to Clearwater in 2018 and then
Hmm.
took a drive down here. And within a 4 year period, everything had changed.
Oh, yeah.
And it was amazing. And
Yeah.
so we kind of made it our goal when we could. We were leaving our little our bedroom community in Birmingham, Alabama, and we just sold everything, got rid of everything, donated everything, and just moved.
Well, you're not slumming it. I've seen your place. The view is amazing.
It is. We do have gorgeous views here.
Yeah.
And to me, sunshine and water is just one of the healthiest things you can
I
have
agree.
in your life. So
I tell you what, any day I'm not feeling up to par, or oh, woe is me. I take a drive to the beach and it changes your entire perspective.
yes, it does. So let's talk about what home buyers, whether you're a high net worth individual borrowing money or just your, average Joe
Yep.
borrowing money, what should home buyers be thinking about before they go to purchase their house?
I would always say affordability. I love having a conversation with somebody, find out what their needs are today. What's your plan? 5 year, 10 years? Is a short term to a bigger place? Did you just move here? It really starts with a conversation. I love having a conversation with somebody. We find out what your finances are, what your down payment obligations are, what you're looking to do, what you would like to do. Then we just kind of build it from there.
And you want to make sure your credit is structured.
That's the other thing, and that's why I like starting with the conversation, because a lot of people don't realize either. If you're carrying some debt on some credit cards, everything works on ratios. If your ratio is a little bit high on some debt on some cards that you just haven't paid off yet, I'm going to advise you to pay them off. Let's sit on it for 30 days and maybe even less. Let that more or less reflect on your credit report, so it reflects positively on your credit score.
And don't go buy big purchases
Oh, yeah.
before looking for the home.
I always, yeah.
And the great
You'd be
thing about
surprised.
the great thing about talking to you first is you can get that pre-approval letter. So
Yeah.
particularly in my market with the higher priced houses or condos, sellers want to see pre-approval before even showing the property. So
That's a big piece of it, but I think even bigger piece than that, you need to know what you're comfortable with, what your affordability is. Looking at a $500,000 house is one thing. Find out what the payment is with insurance, taxes, all that. That's going to be your next step in moving forward.
and let's talk about maybe a young couple, maybe the parents or the grandparents want to give them a big gift like the down payment for the house.
Absolutely.
Does that
You
what
can
does that
use
weigh into?
Well, you could do that with either conventional, FHA, VA. There's no real program you can't utilize a gift. So it's definitely an option.
You just have to prove where that gift came from.
We do have to source it, and that sourcing looks a little different compared to FHA
Okay.
and conventional. FHA is a little more scrutinizing. They want to see a little more paperwork. Conventional, you just send that into the title company. We just need a source that they had the money to give to the title company, and that's the gist of it from there.
So if you have nice relatives, take that gift.
Yeah, exactly.
It really will help a lot.
Absolutely.
Alleviate, the burden of higher mortgage payments and having that down payment.
Kind of back to what we were talking about earlier with higher interest rates. This is a saying we've been using a lot of the last couple of years, and it's marry the house, date the rate. You're not going to get a chance to buy that house cheaper, but you get a chance to make that house cheaper in the long run with the lower interest rate. Again, with the higher interest rates, it's kind of putting downward pressure on pricing, which is a good thing. So you're able to get into I would much rather have a cheaper house than a cheaper interest rate if it were the two.
Right. And then you could always go back and refinance depending on, yeah.
exactly.
So that's the great thing. I had a thought in my head and it just went out the window. So maybe we'll get back to that. But let's, when you are buying, you are investing in your property. But let's talk about the other ways that you can invest in property. You said you were an investor. There's a lot that's going on here. I mean, you have, beach property, waterfront property. Why do you think St. Pete is such a great place to invest your money?
I've said this since I first moved here. And I think St. Pete is the new mini Miami.
Oh.
Just with...
Some people don't like that.
I know. But you know why people don't like that? The cultural aspect of it. Take the cultural part out of it. But I say mini Miami because of the new builds and the new people coming here. And, we got a storm here recently that's really shaken up the market in a lot of ways. And with that shakeup, you're going to bring in investors, people that are going to put money and invest into these areas. And in doing so, you're getting new facilities, new restaurants, new hotels.
Oh, so many new restaurants, so many new hotels.
So many new investment areas. I follow all the new people coming and properties that are being bought up and what they're doing with those properties, what they're proposing to do with those properties. It's exciting to be a part of.
And we're not going to get as big as Miami. First of all, there's not enough.
No.
There's not enough space.
No, but that's a quaint part that I love about St. Pete or Pinellas County in general. Is it's a finite amount of land that we have to kind of develop on, and that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, and I think we have a good mix of people, like-minded or not like-minded enough that I think we can balance this. You know, we have a lot of arts, we have a lot of culture, we have a lot of museums, we have the restaurants, we have the nightlife. I don't know about the nightlife. I'm usually in bed by 9:30.
I used to know more of it back in the day. Yeah.
But I mean, you can go to a show pretty much every week, whether it's comedy, magic, a play, an orchestra.
Theater.
The theater,
theater that I'm going to here soon.
Absolutely. So there's so many options here in St. Pete. So we're like the Chamber of Commerce of St. Pete. Okay, so let's wrap up a little bit, but let's talk about. I wanted to know about 4 non-traditional loans and what are some examples of when a buyer would use them.
Okay, so let me start with, I would say, a self-employed buyer. Self-employed buyer, I get it. Yeah, the less you pay Uncle Sam, the better you are. And I'm a big fan of that as well. But in doing so, you're not showing as much income. And when you're doing that, you're taking away from your buying ability. We can get around that with bank statement loans, 1099 loans. Also have bank statement, 1099, asset depletion. If you're sitting on a good sum of cash in the bank, 401k, investments, stuff like that, I can actually depreciate that over 36 months and use that as income to qualify for the purchase.
Are the rates usually higher than standard market rates?
They are a little bit higher, but not really much. I would say anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 point. We're direct to Fannie Freddie. We've got our own product line, non-QM products, so we're probably more competitive than most. Which makes it, attractive in that aspect.
And when we're talking interest rates seem a little high, they're really not that high.
Historically, we're right where we should be.
Right. Yeah, so that's key to remember. I mean, don't listen to all the hype on the media is talking about. The rates are pretty good.
Yeah, but I will say I've got a few properties that are under 3%. So I mean, Yeah. So I've really taken advantage of that. And really, at that point, it's just free money. I can't even justify selling the property.
Exactly. So you can empathize with your customer.
I've been a buyer. We just kind of came across an unnormal circumstance with the pandemic, and it really brought down rates. They were stimulating the economy, and doing so, they brought down the rates. We are where we are.
Okay, so that's one. What's another unusual one?
DSCR. It's a debt service loan. So this is for my investors. It's really you're not even showing income and things like that. You're actually it's a self-service loan. So what we do is you're putting down 20 to 25%. Whenever you put that money down, we order the appraisal. The appraisal has to come in and has to cover what the purchase price is, and then we get what's called a rent rate. The rent rate just shows what the potential rental income is. As long as that number is higher than what the mortgage is after you put the 25% down in taxes, insurance, it's pretty much that easy to get that.
Very good. So
And that's a quick loan.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of different products. So don't feel like you're kind of stuck on one path. There could be so many options out there if you talk to a qualified mortgage lender like Josh. So
one of my favorite things is there's a bunch of ways to skin a cat.
Yes. Although we don't really do that. But, well, I thank you so much for all that great information. We're going to have more information about St. Pete real estate, St. Pete, the lender in St. Pete. We're going to just try to keep this up probably a couple times a month to start. And so, because there's a lot of information to keep up with. So we'll figure out what we're going to share with you next. So we appreciate you tuning in to Selling St. Petersburg. I'm Allana Pinkerton. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, of course, and even LinkedIn. I post things. Where are you mostly found?
Joshua Naylor, the Naylor Group. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. If you have any questions whatsoever, please reach out to me. I love talking shop. So
he does.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. That's it from St. Pete. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.